What is going on, guys? This is Beanie and welcome back to another player review. I'd planned on doing a gameplay today, but I'd forgotten that they're coming out with some new content. And before we start this player review, I just want to say that I'm going to be streaming later on tonight. I'm going to be trying to play some events and grind some events because I really need to get those wins to get that 99 overall Griffey. So if you want to watch me do that, want to stop by for a little while, chat with me, whatever, feel free to do that. We'll have a good time. I'm planning on starting the stream probably about 7 o'clock Central Standard Time. But guys, they have unleashed a ton of content. A lot of it hasn't been unlocked yet, so I'm going to save those reviews for whenever they come out so we can actually see the attributes and everything. But for right now, we're just going to do the ones that are out, and then I may skip a few today and wait and group some of the other ones in whenever the other cards come out, so I don't have like one really long one and one really short player review, you know what I mean? So anyways, guys, let's get into the player review. Okay, guys, first off, they've released 3 new relievers that I know about in the ticket counter that I can see from just right here. And I think all 3 of these guys are new. I don't know, the Show Nation is kind of down right now, so I can't double check with them, but I believe all 3 of these are new. So I'm gonna review them. The Grilly and the Feliz, I'm not, I know the Papelbon is new, but I'm not 100% on the Grilly or the Feliz. I think they are, though. But I kind of, they're really similar, so I might do all of the fags together. First, let's talk about the Papelbon. The Papelbon has great hit and K per 9, not elite for a reliever, but very good. I mean, he has solid stuff to go along with it. You know, 82 velocity, 85 break. You know, a good pitch mix, 4-seam, 2-seam splitter, slider. His splitter has always been kind of nasty. It always seems, though, that, like, I don't know if it's the fact that his delivery isn't that deceptive in years past or what, but he hasn't really seemed all that hard to square up, but he'd still definitely be an above average reliever for you. So I ended up putting his fag at a 7.3. Okay, this Grilly is very good too. Very similar hit and K per 9. His stuff is a little worse though. You know, his velocity takes a bit of a dip. His break, I don't know, he may have better break, I'm not sure. And he has, you know, the 4-seam slider, changeup. I don't know if I like the splitter or the changeup better. They're very similar pitches. I think the splitter may have a little bit more bite, so I think that gives Papelbon the edge there. Plus, he throws a little bit harder, so that changeup is a little bit more effective. So I ended up putting Jason Grilly's fag at a 6.9. Not a dominant reliever, but a guy who you can kind of rely on. And then the Feliz, in my opinion, is the lesser of the 3. He is, you know, his per 9s are right in the same ballpark as the other ones, except his hit per 9 is better than his K per 9. And his stuff is very similar to Papelbon's in terms of velocity and break. But the big knock that I have on this guy is a curveball is his primary breaking pitch. And I'm not a big fan of that. I would like it if he had a slider. But it's not too big of a knock on him, but since Grilly's fag was a 6.9, I put his at a 6.8. I think the Grilly would be slightly more useful, but it's really close between these 3. I think Papelbon gets the edge slightly over the other 2, you know, just a few fag points above the other guys. But this one, you know, all 3 of them have a chance to be very reliable, but not dominant relievers. So I don't know if I said it, but I put this guy's fag at a 6.8. Okay, guys, now they have unleashed some new monthly rewards for the month of May. And these rewards are cards, I mean, not rewards or whatever. But these cards are pretty damn good. I really like them. And starting out, we have Lance McCullers, who you acquire through the ticket counter. I like this card, guys. I think this is a very solid card. The only problem with it is that it doesn't have a slider, and a curveball is like his out pitch. You know, it's really its primary pitch overall. And the 4-seam and the changeup and all that comes secondary. I'm not a huge fan of that. But other than that, this card is very solid. He hits above that 160 mark that we look for in hit and K per 9. He comes out at a 165 there. He throws relatively hard for a starting pitcher. You know, really anything over 75 velocity for a starter can be qualified as pretty good. Has a solid curve and change combo. Like I said, I wish he had the slider. That knocks him down some. And I don't think that this guy is going to be like an ace on your team, but as like a 4 or 5 hole guy, I think very, very solid. So I put his fag at a 7.7. Okay, moving on to the monthly rewards that you can get from the marketplace. The first guy we're going to talk about is Kota Glover. And guys, this card is freaking lit. I am super excited to use this card, and he can be had very cheaply. Well under 5K, you can grab this guy. And I'll tell you who he really reminds me of. He reminds me of Kelvin Herrera, a very, very hard thrower with, you know, a slightly above average per 9s for a reliever, very good break, and a 5-pitch mix. That is so valuable for a relief pitcher. I love it. The only difference, I guess, is his slider is his primary pitch, and his 2 fastballs are the 2, you know, secondary and I guess tertiary pitches. But guys, this card is lit. I'm super excited to use this card, and I could see him being every bit as valuable as Kelvin Herrera. But until I actually get him in my hands and use him, I'm gonna pump the brakes on that just a little bit. And I'm going to say that his fag is an 8.0, but I could see it after getting him in my hands. I could see him going up as high as like an 8.8 to 9.0 if he throws hard enough, if his off-speed stuff is good enough. This card could be extremely, extremely valuable, especially whenever you can have him so cheaply. By the way, guys, I don't know if I said it earlier, but the monthly rewards gets you a 94 overall Carlos Correa. I haven't checked out that card. He will be in another player review, but I can imagine that it's probably lit as fuck. But next up, we have the 88 overall Devin Travis. And guys, they're starting to release some second basemen, man. Second base is starting to be a not so shallow position. Like, you're starting to see some depth come in from second base, and this card, man, is no different, dude. It's very, very good. The baseline that I kind of set for this card was the Aaron Hill that they released last week. I really liked that card too. And I think I ended up giving him a fag of an 8.0, and I was like, do I like this card better or not as much as the Aaron Hill? And I don't think I like it quite as much as I like the Aaron Hill, just because the Aaron Hill has a little bit more pop and better vision, but it's very, very close. This guy makes up for it with a tad more speed and stuff like that, and better contact. So, you know, it was like, which one do I give the edge to? And in all honesty, they're so close in terms of how much value I think they're going to bring to you. I put this guy just one tick below Aaron Hill, and I put his fag at a 7.9. Okay, now this card I really, really like, and I think that this guy could get a lot of value on your team. If you're like running a semi-budget squad or something like this, this is probably going to be your shortstop or wherever you decide to put him on the infield, because he can play it 3 different positions. Wherever you decide to put this guy, I think he could stick there all year. This guy mashes, dude. Like, against righties, 76, 79 with 72 vision. That's extremely good for a shortstop, or, you know, wherever you decide to put him. 90, 89 is a monster for that position. This guy is incredible. I love this card, and you don't take a hit on defense either. He is a very solid defender. If you put him at second base, very, very solid. If you put him at third, the fielding is very, very solid, maybe even above average, or like well above average is what I mean to say. And his hitting isn't going to hurt you no matter where you put him. He's a great hitter. 61 speed for a middle infielder, that's not great, you know, but whatever. Whenever you're getting this stick, it's like, dude, come on, take it. So I put his fag at an 8.1, and I don't know, man. It could be even higher than that. I don't know. I may have kind of sold this guy short. The only thing that kind of held me back was the fact that he wasn't as good against righties, but man, he's still very solid. Okay, coming up next is a 90 overall Justin Bour. The first well, I guess the McCullers was the first diamond monthly that we talked about. but this is the first diamond that you can buy on the market for the monthly rewards, and he's a great hitter, great lefty bat that you could put in your lineup, but he's a first baseman that can only play first base. There's really nothing that stands out about him. They're good left-handed first basemen all over the place. I still think this guy, you know, has above average value. I just don't think that there's anything special about him that kind of separates him from anybody else. You know, I kind of run into this roadblock anytime they release a first baseman. Like, I really look for something that stands out, whether that be speed, fielding, secondary positions, or if they're just like a monster hitter, like 99 everything. This guy just isn't. So I put his fag at a 6.9, you know, just well above average, but he's, you know, he's a dime a dozen, I guess. And then last but not least, we're going to be talking about the 94 overall Alex Wood. This card, man, it was tough. It was tough to place because similarly to the McCullers, this card has a curveball as his primary off-speed pitch, or I guess a changeup would be, but as his primary breaking pitch. And I'm not a big fan of the knuckle curve, but this guy throws a sinker and the McCullers doesn't. This guy's per nines are very good. I think they come out to the same thing as the McCullers. It's a 165. That's very, very solid, well above average for a starting pitcher. You know, he throws very, very hard for a lefty sinker baller, and he has a very, very funky delivery that can really throw you off. It's not easy to pick up at all. And so that adds some value to him there. You know, whenever I first saw his pitch mix, I wanted to put him lower. But then I started to think about all the variables, and I was like, nah, this card is well above average. I could see this card working his way into my rotation for a good while. So I put his fag at a 7.9. And even that, I may even feel like that's a little light on him, because I do think that if you use this guy well, he could be really, really good for you. But yeah, guys, that is going to do it for this edition of Player Reviews. This one, I don't know, it may end up being a tad shorter or whatever, but I'm going to be doing another one tomorrow, and I'm going to be streaming tonight, getting you guys some gameplay, and then tomorrow I'm going to try to get a gameplay video and do the rest of these player reviews. Hopefully the cards will be released by then. But yeah, guys, I will see y'all later on today with the stream, and until then, guys, peace!